How's it going, everyone? It's your boy Venomous Stare back with another StarCraft 2 2v2, spawning in the left of the map Magma Mines, which is very similar to the 3v3 map Untamed Spire, is Savage Wood and Elusive Smoke, who has opted to float his main to the gold. Savage Wood has already taken another base, and Elusive Smoke has expanded onto that low ground as we see a barracks with tech lab and a factory coming for Elusive Smoke. And right away we're going to get into action as Detonator, the Terran opponent, along with Zero to Hero, a double Terran on this map, very strong. Detonator's going to run in with this Reaper, and Elusive Smoke did not make any units before he made his tech lab. Very greedy. So this Reaper did some damage. It got 2 kills. It's probably going to kill some Lings too. Very annoying. You always want to make early units whenever you play double Terran because they'll almost certainly go Reaper. It's just too good not to do. Now, talking about the layout of this map, the rush distance by ground is very short, and the natural ramps are close together, and there's a lot of expansions that go down south, but the way the map works is if you want to push from one natural to the other, it's very short, and even if you want to contest the bottom bases, the rush distance is very short. So Mech is very strong on this map as we see that Reaper finally goes down to Elusive Smoke's Marauder, and Elusive Smoke is immediately building a Cyclone, so that's very abnormal. You don't often see someone go quick tech lab into Cyclone. And if we look in the Terran camp, we see a Liberator coming out for a Zero to Hero, as well as a tank. So, and a second factory, so definitely some mech play. And as far as Detonator goes, he's making another base, Widow Mines, and he's playing pretty damn defensively, so it's hard to say. That's peculiar. It's hard to say what he's going to do other than play defensively at this juncture. And of course, Savage Wood, that's me, is going Muta with double Evo Chamber and Baneling Nest. This Liberator for Zero to Hero flew right by this Overlord. Obviously Savage Wood sees it, he's going to chase it off. Now recently the Liberator was nerfed slightly. Its range, its little radius of its defender mode ability was decreased. That means that Liberators are less good when they're set up in abusive little positions, which is nice because I don't think anybody likes being fucking harassed by Liberators. I find it very obnoxious. The Cyclone is actually exceptional for taking out harass. We saw it scared away that Liberator, and it killed that Hellion. This ability on the Cyclone, if you don't know, it's literally called Lock On. I thought it had a name. It just locks on and does massive damage, and you can click your Cyclones around, and they'll just fucking shoot and do tons of damage, just like Phoenix. So if not many people make the Cyclone, so that's why I went to the trouble to explain it. I'm sure a lot of you already knew that, though. Savage Wood taking his third, making 4 Mutalisks as his Spire finished, as well as 1/1 upgrades and Baneling speed, so once he gets that Mutal upgrade, it will be standard Baneling play, Mutaling Baneling from Savage Wood, as Zero to Hero has a nice little tank backbone already. This is very good on this map. This map is not good at all for Muta play. So Savage Wood is doing kind of a bad build. This map favors very strong and mobile armies, like Mech. This map has a short rush distance, which is bad for Mutaling Baneling as well. So, odd choice from Savage Wood. Obviously, that's me, so I will say I like to go Muta every single game if I can, because you can always put your opponent in the position to multitask and force them to do shit. But in maps where you can rush like that far in siege tanks, you're better off going Roach, Hydra, Lurker, Ravager than something that requires flanking. Because if you have a good opponent, they can do slow pushes with Liberators and tanks. This bass, or this bass, 5-pound bass, this base just got cancelled. And I think Detonator already has, okay, no. But Detonator, he's going to bury mines, one of them's going to die. This is very good. If you're Zerg, you should be sending your overlords to your opponent's bases and creep dropping them, because once this has been, once you get this full circle, it takes a whole minute to dissipate. So that's 100 minerals that you can say fuck you to your opponent and delay their expansion, which is very good. I know that the Thor's attack was changed, or they were talking about changing it, and it looked like it didn't do splash damage there at the beginning, but then at the end it kind of did, so not really sure about that. The Thor, of course, for so many years has been the unit that you make against Mutalisk because it does bonus damage to light. As we see Elusive Smoke, beautiful little 4 Marauder drop. 4 Marauders are exceptional for killing buildings. If you didn't know that, subscribe to the channel. So I'm not sure about these Thor, but in the past they countered Muta, and even if they removed the splash damage, which I'm not sure if they did or not, they were talking about removing the splash damage in favor of a single target air attack, I guess to counter carriers and shit, but I don't really know what Detonator thinks he's doing. As we see, Savage Wood obviously sees it. He ran right through the tower. A lot of times Terrans will just try this shit. They'll just load everything they have into medevacs. They'll say fuck it, and they'll just push with their fucking whole army in medevacs. And if you don't see it, if you're looking somewhere else on the map, their whole army's in your base, and you can often lose the game. But if you have the map, or if you have map control and you have the tower, I mean, the damn map is so narrow and chodish in nature that it's hard to miss anything. So I don't really know what he was expecting there. These are the supplies currently. Both of the players are about even, as Detonator and Elusive Smoke are hovering around 90. Look at this. Detonator finally clearing out this obnoxious overlord. Pain in the ass. More importantly though, Savage Wood now knows that Detonator has the potential to take this base. Until that point, Savage Wood, me, whatever. I always refer to myself in the third person because it makes it easier than saying me. Because when you say me, it just gets confusing. But whenever you do an overlord drop of creep like that on a base, you always know whenever they want to take the base. Look at that, he killed the overlord with creep. Within 30 seconds he's over trying to take the base. Elusive Smoke is dropping mules onto this gold base. Very strong move. We see our Zerg player, because he was not able to spread creep in the early game due to narrow positions with teammates, SimCity, he's now using overlords to drop creep. This is something that Idra did a lot when he did Roach Baneling styles. Holy shit, which tab isn't obnoxious? Wow, Savage Wood, look at that. Anytime you play Zerg and your creep spread gets cock blocked for whatever reason, but you have a lot of overlords, you should try to do this at least a little bit. Not necessarily all over the map, because if you get pushed you can lose a lot of overlords, but connecting bases and stuff, especially in 1v1 when there's no creep to worry about. Savage Wood has gotten Hive and he's getting Infestors. That's a lot of turrets. Elusive Smoke though, he has a cutesy little mech army. Hammering away, and Savagewood's going to run in while Elusive Smoke distracts. And Savagewood does not kill very much as far as bio goes. He killed some mech units, but more importantly, Elusive Smoke snipes off this key base. And our Terran players, Detonator and Too Good to Fail, or whatever the hell his name is, Zero to Hero, are now at a base disadvantage. Elusive Smoke has this base, and judging by this hefty tank backbone, I don't anticipate he's going to lose that top base anytime soon, as it can be easily defended, as can this gold base with some turret support. Savagewood has already made several more units. He's already back up in the 130s in supply after losing almost his entire army. Infestors are going to be key here. Elusive Smoke needs to come help his ally. Big Fungals onto Detonator's army. 0 times 2. Another Fungal coming down. Zero to Hero is going to siege. Infested Terrans going forth, attempting to siege tank friendly fire. Banelings into Hellbats, not necessarily the most efficient thing. Mutas can come forward now and deal with the Medivacs though, which is very important when playing versus Terran. However, Detonator has reinforced this push with Widow Mines. Notice the rush distance is very short. This means that anytime you push with Widow Mines, it almost acts as a fucking defensive barrier as well. Savagewood has Ultras coming as well as Broodlords. He's a high-tech Zerg player. Elusive Smoke is also building mech units, although not very quickly, as he is supply blocked. This bottom base is incredibly hard to hold, especially against Terran and Protoss. Zerg, if you make enough static, you can kind of do it, but you're not holding that against a choke point, against an army, you know what I mean. I'm just going to abort that sentence. Broodlord's coming here for Savagewood. This, of course, is pretty much the hard counter to defensive play. And if we're going to throw it all the way back to 2011, if a Zerg player could ever get to the mid and late, or if a Zerg player could ever get to the late game in Steps of War, even though it was very imbalanced, and they could get to Broodlords, they would usually win, because as soon as you get to Broodlords, you're pretty much at your opponent's front door. And one of the counters to Broodlords as Terran is just to delay and multitask and drop and don't let your opponent attack. But when the map is this narrow and this short, it can't really be done. Savagewood needs to not idiotically lose his Ultras whenever he has Broodlord Infestor to use. Fail Fungal there. Savagewood microing like a Gold Leaguer, but not losing an Ultra yet. 3 more Infestors coming from Savagewood. The reason Broodlord Infestor is so strong, and I'm sure many of you know this, but I like to include tips for the newbies, is these Infestors have the spell called Fungal, which is an AoE lockdown, and the Broodlord's biggest weakness is units that can run away from them, can kite them, and can abuse their lack of mobility. So Fungal Growth neutralizes mobility, and Broodlords are very good against any ground units who are not mobile. Detonator here is trying to respond in inferior ways. This Widowmine play is insanely strong on this map, however it's bad against Broodlords, as are turrets. He might just try to say fuck it and run in. Big Fungal from Savagewood, and Savagewood needs to run his army forward. Big Fungals are coming in and actually are doing severe damage, just the Fungal, pretty much. Nice Fungals there from Savagewood, and Zero to Hero leaves the game because the Ultra Broodlord combo is too much to deal with. So Savagewood and Elusive Smoke using some nice teamwork. Elusive Smoke with the rare mech game. Usually we see him buzzing around the map dropping. If you enjoyed, follow me on Twitter, link in the description, and subscribe to the channel for more StarCraft content. It's free.